Good morning. We are looking at Jonah chapter 1. I want to read verses 1 and 2 again as we set up to walk into verse 3. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call out against it, for their evil has come up before me. It's a challenging call that comes from the Lord for Jonah to go into the darkness, as we mentioned yesterday. I want to focus on the idea of a call, and I want you to see the next beginning words of verse 3. So verse 2 again, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call out against it, for their evil has come up before me. But Jonah, we immediately see a contrast. Jonah's called to do something, but Jonah rose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare, went down into it to go with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. Well, Jonah disobeys. He runs. We'll learn later in chapter 4 why he did that. For now, it's sufficient to recognize that he just was called, arise, kum in the Greek, in the Hebrew rather, kum, arise, go to Nineveh. But Jonah actually went the other direction. So Jonah's called to go north to Nineveh, and he heads due west to Tartessos, which was known as Tarshish. It was a settlement out on the Atlantic coast of the southern Iberian Peninsula, about as far away in the known world as he could get, away from where God wanted him to go. He rejects the call of God. Why is that so significant? To reject the call of God. After all, it's your life. It's my life. Can't you do with it as you choose? Well, let me give you just a couple of thoughts this morning. First, when you reject the call, you are rejecting the caller. So a rejection of what God wants you to do is a rejection of God as your authority. And that's an enormous statement because He is your Lord. According to 1 Corinthians 6, you were bought at a price. And I'm to honor God with my members, meaning not just that I not sin, but that I use my life, I use my body to do what God wants me to do. Secondly, it relegates me. It relegates you to something less than God's best. For me to say, no, I know better than you, Lord, and I don't want to do that which you've called me to do, is for me to say to the Lord, I think I've got it from here. I think I'll steer this ship. It's an Invictus kind of, I'm the captain of my soul. And that's going to end up relegating me to less than the best for my life, because frankly, God simply knows best because He's the author of life and the designer of it. And then third, it reveals something about the affections of my heart. The fact that I don't want to listen to God, the fact that something would be more appealing, that I'd be like Demas, who having forsaken Paul because he loved this present world, I would forsake the Lord out of love for this world, out of love for trinkets, out of love for something, out of love for accomplishment, out of love for a person, out of love for a job, out of love for a place to live. All of these kinds of things are inferior. And so I end up betraying the real affections of my heart. So Jonah betrays the affections of his heart. He ends up rejecting the caller, and he's relegated. Now God will rescue him. That's one of the great things about God, is He'll work and rescue us. But we learn from Jonah that we don't want to live in the first phrase of verse 3, but Jonah. When the call comes, you don't want a contrastive to follow. You don't want, but you went the other direction. You want it to say, and you obeyed. May the Lord bless you today.